All right, cool. Welcome to a webinar put on by Payoneer about LATAM growth opportunities. We are going to get started in just a couple minutes, but we have the team from Mercado Libre and the team from GeekSeller here with us, and we're going to have a really good conversation about a variety of topics surrounding what is Mercado Libre, how GeekSeller can help, overall LATAM opportunity, and why it should be part of your online selling strategy. So I'm going to wait just a couple minutes, but while we're waiting, if you guys want to just pop in the chat, let us know where you're joining from. That would be pretty awesome, and we can go from there. Also, if you have any questions already, perhaps, you can put them in the Q&A throughout the entire webinar. You can also put them in the Q&A or the chat. I will monitor them. If they come up at a relevant point, we will go through them and address them. Otherwise, we will wait towards the end to address them as a whole. All right. Cool. So let's just give it another couple minutes or a minute or two and then jump in because we do have a pretty lengthy webinar. Still muted. All right, cool. So for anyone just joining us, feel free to put in the chat where you're joining us from. We're going to give it just another couple minutes or a minute or two and get started. I see at least one familiar name on the list, so I know where they're from. There's another one. All right, cool. So as I said, we will be beginning shortly. Let's see. We have Kevin joining us from New Jersey. I know we have Floor joining us from San Diego. I think Eileen is usually located in Colorado. I'm not sure where she is today, but we'll go through that in just a couple minutes. Eileen's in New York, so I was close, but all right, cool. So since we are recording, let's just jump in and we will get started. So today we are going to be talking about LATAM growth opportunities for online sellers, looking at businesses that have typically sold on marketplace models and looking to expand into a region which perhaps they don't necessarily know much about, but there's a major player in the market, and we're really grateful to have Mercado Libre here with us today to talk about their global selling program and how they've made it super easy for not only U.S. businesses, but businesses outside of LATAM to sell into LATAM. And we're going to go a little bit more in depth into what they can do and how it works. But before there, I thought we'd go through and introduce everyone. So we have first Lou from Mercado Libre and Mariano as well. And then we have Brock and Daniel from GeekSeller. So I thought at this point, what would be good is before we jump in is for each of them or both of them in terms of companies to give a quick introduction onto who they are and what they do. So Lou, do you want to start for us?
Sorry, I wasn't mute.
All right.
Hi. Thanks for introduction. Yes, my name is Maria Luján. Everybody calls me Lu. I'm part of Mercado Libre Global Selling Team located in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I've been working in Mercado Libre for almost 4 years and more than one in the global selling business. Currently, I'm working on the development of the US market into Latin America, leading the account management team on the onboarding of new sellers. I also work with our partners such as GeekSeller to ensure the success of international merchants on our platform. So I'm really happy and excited to join this webinar and talk about opportunities in Latin America, talk about Mercado Libre, and explain in detail how our global selling program works.
Mariano?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, DJ, for the introduction. Thank you, Lou, for the comments, and thanks everybody for joining today. My name is Mariano. I've been with Mercado Libre for over 5 years now, and I'm leading the overall US business development strategy for the cross-border team in Mercado Libre. Really excited to be here. So thanks again to everybody, and hope we have a really interesting session today.
Awesome. And Brock from GeekSeller.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brock. I'm an enterprise accountant, enterprise account executive here with GeekSeller. I've been with them for just under a year. I'm one of the co-leaders on bringing new sellers onto our platform and onboarding them to sell in the marketplaces. Here we'll show you a little bit about us and how we work with Mercado Libre. I'm looking forward to the presentation.
Awesome.
Yeah, hi. My name is Daniel. I'm a co-founder of GeekSeller, and I will be here hanging out on chat mainly and answering any questions that you may have about GeekSeller.
Okay, cool. So to jump in, this is the agenda of what we're going to go through. A little bit of why we're here. Why did we think that this would be a good webinar? What's the value points for you? Sort of, what can you take away from this? Then touching on the LATAM opportunity, touching on everywhere from Mexico down to the tip of Patagonia in Argentina. There's a vast continent that many people don't know how to sell into. And like I said, we have Mercado Libre here going to present their global selling solution, which kind of eases everything for that. Then we're going to talk about GeekSeller, and Brock's going to present a little bit about how it's all connected and how they can help make the transition easier for you. And then at the end, we'll share our contact details and have some Q&A. So like I said, if you have any questions throughout, feel free to put them in the chat or the Q&A, and I will get to them as we do, or save it to the end. So this first section, I wanted to just jump through and talk a little bit about why we're here. And what this really is to highlight these new opportunities. We've seen tremendous growth, not only in terms of e-commerce, but more specifically in terms of marketplace sales all around the world in the last year. The migration from a consumer habit to have to purchase your items from a marketplace or from an online store has really propelled tremendous growth, and this is what we can do to sort of capitalize that as a business or as an online seller. So what we're looking to do here is bring the marketplaces to the sellers and bring the service providers or the solutions to the sellers. So US sellers, US listening, this is sort of unique insight. You don't always have the opportunity to get in front of businesses and marketplaces and the opportunity to ask them questions potentially about your business and why you should sell on their platform. So it's a really unique opportunity. And one of the things that we always talk about when we do webinars and bring on marketplaces or partners is we want them to have some sort of solution that our sellers can understand, and it's sort of turnkey or end-to-end, and it's not left up to interpretation. There's very much, this is how it works. We know how this works. This is going to make our sellers successful. And to clear any doubt, there's a lot of questions, a lot of unknowns about selling into a new region with new consumers on a new marketplace and new fulfillment and all this. And I think that's really how a solution like GeekSeller can help ease any questions that you might have. And then, like I said, we want you to have tangible takeaways from this. If it's nothing more than I need to do more research into LATAM and I need to do more research into Mercado Libre or GeekSeller, that's enough. I mean, I hope it's a lot higher than that, and you're emailing Lou and you say you want to get started. But I think at the very least, this should pique your interest and get you going on that front. So let's jump in. The first thing we're going to talk about is overall the LATAM opportunity with a little bit more emphasis on Mexico because from the US, it's our closest neighbor down to the south. But just to talk about what does LATAM, or how is LATAM different than, say, selling in the US, selling in Canada or Europe, where a lot of businesses are already selling, and what is the real opportunity there? So the one thing that I want to touch on is Mexico and the growth that we've seen in Mexico. So pretty much tremendous growth as we've seen across a lot of the other regions in terms of consumers making their purchases online since the pandemic, really speeding up that growth projection into 2020 and beyond. And up until 2024, they're looking to have tremendous growth, and about $21 billion in terms of revenue and projected sales. The one thing that I want to do here is bring on Lou or Mariano, I'm not sure which one, but to highlight some news that Mercado Libre as a marketplace has made last week, which is pretty significant, I think.
Yes. Okay. Yes, we have a lot of confidence in the region. In fact, we continue to invest in the region, and we are going to double our workforce at Mercado Libre this year, with emphasis on positions in logistics and IT, technology and software development roles. We plan to have 32,000 employees by the end of this year. Just to give you an example, only in Mexico, we will multiply by 4 the amount of employees. We've also invested $1.1 billion in Mexico to expand our warehouse space and our logistics service due to the increase of the demand during the pandemic. Okay, so just for you to know, in 2020 or last year, we made almost 600 million deliveries. We opened 5 new warehouses, and in peak seasons, we put together almost 300 packages per minute. So on top of that, we launched Meli Air, that is a fleet of 7 cargo planes covering 8 routes in Mexico and Brazil. So yes, we do have a lot of confidence in the region, because we know that the opportunity in Latin America is huge.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty significant in terms of, U.S. businesses looking to take the first step. And, we've seen a lot of them starting to sell on Mexico, or in Mexico, on other marketplaces. And, that other marketplace does not necessarily have the same share that Mercado Libre does, or the reputation throughout the entire region. Mercado Libre is the #2 largest marketplace in the world, right?
It's the number one in Latin America.
Yeah. The #1 marketplace in Latin America, and in my head, 2 in the world. So
in the ranking, in the world ranking, we are number 9.
9. Okay. Well, plenty of room for growth then, and plenty of opportunity for sellers. So just to circle back a little bit and double down on the Mexico opportunity here. And I think what's unique about Mexico is the way that consumer habits have had to change throughout the pandemic. And I think marketplaces have, in particular, Mercado Libre, have really benefited from that. Not only the fact that you have to order online because stores are closed, but the methods in which payments and discounts and shipping and logistics have had to have a total revamp. And I think that adds to why Mercado Libre has put the emphasis there. So jumping in a little further, I think it's time and apropos to just let Lou and Mariano talk about their global selling solution. It's a pretty unique solution that they've developed with multiple iterations. I know Mariano and I have spoke about this, I think 2 to 3 years ago, and it's come so far since then. And it really fits all the needs of sellers and all the key points that could potentially be painful for sellers. And they've worked through all of them. So I will let them go. And Lou, if you want to just let me know when to go to the next slide.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, first, for those that are not too familiar with our platform, Mercado Libre is the biggest e-commerce and fintech company in Latin America. We are present in 18 countries across the region, and based on unique visitors and page views, we are market leaders in each of the major countries where we are present: Brazil, Mexico, and Argentina. If you can go to the following slide and the following. It's there, yes, thank you. We have a full ecosystem in place, not only the marketplace platform, but as I said, fintech, logistic, credit, advertising, and e-building solutions. So a complete ecosystem that allows merchants and buyers to thrive in the e-commerce industry. Okay, so moving to the following slide, what's Mercado Libre Global Selling? It's a program that allows international merchants to sell on our platform. It's currently enabled in Mexico, Brazil, Chile, and Colombia. By signing up in a Mercado Libre Global Selling program, merchants can sell in each country, managing everything from a centralized account. We know that onboarding to a new region or a new platform can be challenging, so we develop our value proposition to address such complexities. Great. First, merchants do not need to worry about currency fluctuations. Although customers will pay in local currency, merchants will receive the amount published in dollars, discounting our selling fees. So merchants have to only have to list and think in American dollars, and we handle currency conversions. Payments, how it works. Listing products in Mercado Libre, it's free always. Then once you get an order, we will charge a percentage of the product value as a selling fee, ranging from 12.5% to 22.5%, depending on the country and the product category. In Brazil, for example, selling fees, it's always 16%, but in Mexico, Chile, and Colombia, the fees varies per category. But the important thing to mention here is fees only apply after an order is placed. Another key feature of our value proposition is related to financing. We offer our buyers the ability to pay in monthly installments. That is a very common way very common practice in Latin America because of inflations. And Mercado Libre takes care of the financing. Okay, moving along to the, yeah.
Just a question before we go to the next slide.
Great.
Me as a seller from the US, what I would list my products or enter the amount in USD in which I'm looking to sell. And then Mercado Libre would do the conversion depending on the region or the currency.
Yes, we're going to make the conversions to peso mexicano in Mexico, to reais in Brazil. We handle the currency conversions to each of the countries. International sellers have to think and list in American dollars. Buyers will pay in local currency, but they will receive the amount published in dollars.
And just to highlight on that, they get paid via Payoneer.
What? Yes, sure. Yeah, they can set a Payoneer account or the bank account in their global selling account. Yes.
Cool. So the next section.
Great. Awesome. The second pillar of our value proposition is solving the challenge of product shipping and delivery across the different countries. Sellers can choose between two shipping solutions depending on the destination country. First is fulfillment by Mercado Libre, or Mercado Envíos Full, how we call it here. That is, merchants can store their stock in bulk in our warehouse, and we will take care of the entire logistic process. With this service, we make sure that all packages are handled and processed with optimal standards, aiming to provide the best possible customer experience for both same-day or next-day delivery. So sellers ship their inventory in bulk, and once it's in our warehouse, we handle picking, packing, shipping, and delivery on their behalf. Working with Mercado Envíos Full or fulfillment by Mercado Libre has a lot of benefits, but one of main benefits is that it is free of charge. You do not pay any storage or pick or pack fee. It has greater marketplace exposure. Your listings will be highlighted in search results. Express deliveries, products with same or next day deliveries, as I mentioned before. And what is more, that after sale messages from buyers are replied directly by Mercado Libre. Okay, this service is currently enabled in Brazil and Chile, and we are working to expand to the rest of the countries. Okay.
So Lou,
Yes.
just on that point, so if I'm a seller and I'm using Mercado Envíos Full, where am I shipping
Yes.
the products to Brazil and to Chile?
No, you're shipping to Mexico warehouse or to Chile. We do not have our fulfillment solution available in Brazil.
So all I would have to do is worry about getting my products to Mexico, or in some cases Chile, and then from there the fulfillment will be done.
Yes.
And it's, that the part that's key there is, you're not trying to worry from a seller perspective on sending individual products, on your own and trying to figure out, which solution is best in Mexico or in Chile or wherever. I think what's also key there is that, Mercado Libre or Mercado Envíos Full is touching the product the whole way and responsible for getting the product to the end consumer. So, if it gets lost in Chile, I as a seller don't have any idea what to do, but Mercado Envíos Full definitely does, and that's why you rely on you as the experts.
Yes.
Yeah, can I build upon that? Just a quick comment there. I guess that the whole point of this shipping value proposition is flexibility, right? Because we know that there's merchants that prefer direct to consumer, or they wanna taste the market before committing any inventory. So for them, the direct shipping is the best alternative, at least to get started. Once
Right.
they get a better sense of the market, of the consumer trends and consumer habits, they normally transition to the Mercado Envíos Full model and committing large inventories to our warehouse. They obviously can start by any of those, or stick by any of those. But again, the whole point here is giving flexibility and obviously the insurance that we are behind
Right.
both solutions and that they don't need to worry about any of those.
Yes, exactly.
Lou, just before we move on,
Yes.
a question did come in, and it's probably good to address now. Allison was asking, what's the projected pricing difference between direct shipping and Mercado Envíos Full?
No, the price, the selling fees we charge are the same if you choose fulfillment by Mercado Envíos or direct to consumer.
Okay.
As a seller, you have to pay part of the shipping cost because you will offer free shipping to your buyers, but there are very similar prices between both solutions. As Mariano mentioned, what we usually recommend our new sellers is to start selling as a direct to consumer first. I mean, direct to consumer, we mean it's like drop shipping, item by item directly from the warehouse in the United States or in China, wherever, to the buyer's home in Latin America. And they're going to work with our logistic partners to deliver the products. For example, from the United States to Mexico, we are currently working with DHL. So once they get an order, they're going to sell. The sellers will get a ready-to-ship print label. They have to attach it to the package and deliver to the carrier within 72 hours. So as Mario mentioned, we usually new sellers start working with direct to consumer, and once they get some experience, they know which are their top selling items, move forward to our fulfillment solution, where we take care of the entire logistic process.
Sorry, one quick comment there, building on what Lou just mentioned. In terms of pricing, they're very similar, but at the end of the day, it's going to be the merchant who's going to be analyzing the destination market, obviously with the account manager assistance, and based on obviously on the margins on their products, they're going to be the ones deciding on the pricing. It's more of a volume business rather than a margin business. So that's like a tip there on the pricing decision. From a perspective, they're pretty similar, because once you add up all the volume that you will be sending on the Mercado Envíos Full option, then the cost structure kind of balances itself. But again, at the end of the day, it's going to be the merchant deciding on their own pricing strategy.
Perfect. And they have options. So
yeah.
Okay, great. Uploading products, again, listing your products in Mercado Libre, it's free always. So to upload your catalog in Mercado Libre, you have two options. You can do it via Excel spreadsheets done manually using Excel files, or via global selling APIs, integrate Mercado Global Selling with your own platform. And I think that GeekSeller will talk about this topic at the end of this webinar. An important thing to mention here is that merchants don't need to worry about translations. Mercado Libre handles translating your titles and descriptions from English to Spanish or Portuguese. We also take care of translation for pre and post-sale questions to communicate with your buyers. Latin American buyers, I used to make a lot of questions before buying. So it's really important to merchants to answer all the questions from their buyers to get their sales.
That's pretty awesome, because I know a lot of the hurdles with selling internationally for a US-based business is, not only translating your listing into whichever language you're selling into, but the customer service aspect. And Lou, because they ask a lot of questions up front, does that mean that they're only really going to buy the products that they're pretty sure they want? So what is the return side of it, right?
That's a really good question, and you know that fashion is our category that has the highest return rate, and it's up to 3%. Because buyers are used to asking questions before buying. So our returns rate is really low. That's a really good question.
When I buy in the US, I just buy and I figure it out.
You just buy. Yes. That's one of our biggest difference between US and Latin America. Like buyers in Latin America, although your titles explain, the title explains your product, or you have your perfect description or whatever, buyers are used to ask everything. So yes, that's why we also have a very low rate of returns.
Nice.
Yeah, moving forward to our advertising solution. Okay, Mercado Libre has tons of traffic. With the proper products and pricing, you won't have complaints about lack of orders. When I say proper products, I mean our focus categories: consumer electronics, home and industries, fashion, toys and babies, automotive accessories, between others. So on top of that, Mercado Libre allows sellers to get even more visibility of their products with our advertising solution that is called Mercado Ads. Mercado Libre will create ads with your listings and choose the best place and time to show them to buyers. Sellers have the ability to hide, pause, or activate campaigns, as well as set a daily budget. The platform is based on pay-per-click model, so we only pay when a user clicks on your ad. So it's what we usually recommend you sellers to activate advertising to get their first sales.
Okay, so starting right away with advertising, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, also what we usually recommend is to participate in all our sales events. For example, Hot Sale, Black Friday, that gets a lot of visibility to new listings. So it's a good opportunity to highlight your listings in search. So participating in sales event and activating advertising will get a lot of exposure to your listings.
Okay, cool. And I think this is your last slide.
Yes, it's last but not least is the seller reputation in Mercado Libre. It's what reflects your seller performance, and it measures the quality of service you offer to buyers. Sellers must take care of not receiving too many complaints for buyers, not canceling orders, and ship their products within 3 business days to our partner carriers. Like having a good or a green seller reputation, as we call it here in Mercado Libre, will highlight your listings in search and help you sell even more. So it's really important to take care of your reputation and maintain a green or good reputation to increase your sales.
Awesome. Cool. So, obviously this is a little bit about this is a little bit about Mercado Libre's global selling program. And now we wanted to touch on a little bit about GeekSeller and how they can help you as a business facilitate a lot of the things that Lou was talking about. So, Brock.
Thank you. Yeah, we're going to be going over a little bit about GeekSeller and then how we work with Mercado Libre to help United States sellers get onboarded and then start selling the products and do the fulfillment as well. So a little bit about us. We are a small team of about 20 people that divided between support agents, developers, and management. We see that as a benefit to our sellers as they're able to receive prompt service if they need any support help via our live chat, phone support, or email tickets as well. Our founders actually started a web design business in New York City around 2008, which eventually transitioned into an e-commerce business with one of our first major partners being Jet, which I'll go over a little bit in the next slide. We are headquartered in Austin, Texas. However, our team is distributed throughout North America and Europe. Because we are distributed throughout the world, we do have support, outside of normal business hours and on the weekends as well. And due to our strict hiring process, our sellers can be confident in knowing that they're in good hands with experts in the e-commerce industry. And then before moving forward there, just a note there on the right-hand side, we have been listed among the top 100 most important companies in the e-commerce marketplaces system by Marketplace Pulse. We're very proud of that and hoping next year we'll be even higher up on that list.
Cool.
A little bit about our strategic partnerships. So as I mentioned, our first major partner was with a company called Jet. I'm not sure if you remember, they were an early competitor of Amazon, which was eventually bought out by Walmart. But our sellers had a demand for an easy way to publish products to the marketplace. So we took that idea and it kind of evolved into our current business model, which includes more than the product publishing, but more different partnerships as well. And as we changed, as e-commerce changed, we changed with some of our partnerships. We obviously have our marketplace connections, but we also connect with 3PL companies, label generation systems, accounting software, and even more. And our integrations are customizable. So let's say, for example, one of our sellers is using an integration that we don't have an official partnership with. We can look into adding it to our system if it's a good fit for both our seller and us.
Awesome. So, if the seller is selling on hopefully all of these marketplaces plus their own website, they would be able to use GeekSeller in this case to manage their solution, right? I think you're about to talk about some of your core features.
Yeah, absolutely. So through our integrations with these marketplaces, everything in that black hexagon there, I think is our main features, whether it be product management, order management, and quantity management. So to get into product management first, we have the ability to add and edit listings with several selected marketplaces, Mercado Libre being one of those marketplaces. Our platform mirrors what you'd see in those seller centers. So we have all the required fields that they would have in their own marketplace mirrored on our platform. That way, we're able to get all required information before it's submitted. Additionally, we do have our own product error detection system built into our system. So we want to make sure everything is all set before you send it. But if there is an issue, we have direct API access with these marketplaces where we're able to detect any errors. Additionally, products can easily be transferred between marketplaces. So for US sellers that may have products on Walmart or Amazon, when they get started selling in Mercado Libre, what we can do is we can take some of that product data and easily move it over to published products using our interface. Next on there is order management. So we work with over 100 carriers that we can directly integrate to our master panel to fulfill the orders. Some of them being FedEx, UPS, DHL, which Lou mentioned is their partner for Mexico for Mercado Libre. So our sellers have the ability to print these labels individually or in bulk. We can map shipping options based on the best solution for these orders to do that for them. And then lastly, quantity management. Additionally, we can synchronize inventory throughout the different marketplaces. In GeekSeller, we use a system called nodes. You can think of nodes as warehouses or inventory locations, so you can keep these inventories separate, and then we can connect them to the marketplaces. So let's say if you get an order for 5 t-shirts in Mercado Libre, we'll decrease that quantity in the GeekSeller node, and then we'll send those updated quantities to other marketplaces that you may have connected to that node. Moving on, a few of our other features, automation. We try to make GeekSeller as user-friendly as possible, and we want it to work for our sellers and not the other way around. So we have the ability to create automation rules kind of customized to business needs. Additionally, with analytics, we offer cross-channel visuals and different sales and order reports that you're able to print directly from our dashboard. And we also provide EDI integrations for the e-commerce and retail industry.
Awesome.
And then I believe these next slides here are going into our relationship with Mercado Libre and how United States sellers can get set up selling in Latin America. So we've worked closely with the Mercado Libre team to be one of the few omni-channel solutions to help US sellers begin selling in Latin America. Now, a few of the hurdles that were mentioned earlier, difficulties would be, customs paperwork or getting those shipping rates from shipping from the United States to Latin America. But with Mercado Libre, you can use their partnership with DHL, using their pre-generated labels to avoid those lengthy paperwork process and get those low shipping rates as well. And additionally, you can see there we have that official partnership with them where we help you get onboarded throughout the process of getting set up, and then to publish the products and fulfill those orders with the labels directly through our platform.
Cool.
And then just a few examples here to show how easy it is. This is how to print labels directly from our platform. Here's the orders panel, orders tab here in our master panel. When you click that order, you see in that first red box, there's a big green button that says Get DHL Label from Mercado Libre. And then you automatically have that tracking number, and you can either download or print the label. And it's as simple as putting that label on the package and either dropping it off at DHL or scheduling a pickup. So, you'd think that it would be so difficult for United States sellers to, sell seamlessly from the United States to Latin America. But using those pre-generated labels that we get directly from our master panel, we're able to fulfill those orders and get those labels printed with pretty much a click of a button.
So Brock, this is an example of the direct selling program, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, this is if a seller is getting set up and they want to sell directly to a consumer. This label that you print would be a DHL label that goes from the warehouse directly to the consumer in Latin America.
Awesome.
Yeah, make it very easy to get started and sell products from the United States, whether it be publishing the products by moving them over either from an existing marketplace to Mercado Libre, or creating them from scratch using our interface. And then the fulfillment of the orders can either be done individually like this, or in bulk by selecting those check boxes on the left. And then when you hover over bulk action there, you're able to generate the labels, which will create a packing list and the DHL pre-generated labels directly from Mercado Libre. And
maybe this is a question for Lou or Mariano, but when you are direct selling, you are ultimately responsible for making sure the product gets to the end consumer, right?
Yeah.
So it's not as easy as just hitting ship and walking away. You have to make sure it gets there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yep, this is just an example to show in bulk there when you select them, and then on the right-hand side, just bulk generating labels. If you wanted to, if you are getting several orders and you want to do that with a little bit easier than going through individually, we have that option as well.
Cool. Yeah, so we are about done here with this, but I think what's important and what's valuable to talk about is, bringing together these two solutions to make it easier for you as sellers. So there was one question, and I think actually Daniel just answered it via chat, but I think it might be valuable to talk about in regards to geek sellers and shipping, because that's a big component of selling online. But Paula was asking, do you offer any special rates, or for shipping, or do you have to have your own negotiated rates with the shipping companies? And Daniel, I know you wrote a response, but if you'd wanted to come on and kind of talk through that.
Yes, yeah, so we do not have, unfortunately, yet any direct deals with shipping carriers. We offer the integration, API integration with those carriers, but we are working with other companies that have those kind of deals with shipping carriers. And one of the examples is a company called EasyPost. So I encourage sellers who are joining us and they're looking for some negotiated rates to look into EasyPost and see if through this company they can get some better deals, and then seamlessly they can just integrate this EasyPost account with GeekSeller. So at the moment, this is how we are handling this.
Okay, cool. So as I mentioned, if you guys have any questions, this is going to be our sort of Q&A moment. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or the Q&A, and we will get to that. There was a question here, and I think, Mariano, this one's for you. Russell was asking, how does Mercado Libre compare in Mexico to some of the other marketplaces in terms of market share?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So Mercado by far has the biggest market share by far in Mexico. I don't have the latest numbers, but last I checked, I think it was 2 months ago, we more than doubled the second player in the whole market share. So I think it was, Mercado Libre was around 35% market share, and the second player was around 18%. And that's the case all across the region. For instance, in Argentina, market share is 80% or above 80%. In Brazil, we have the similar situation there. So even though we face stiff competition all across the countries, we have been able to solidify our position, strengthen it, and with all what Lou just described with the development of our ecosystem, we not only kept our market share, but it grew, especially in the last 3 years, it outgrew the market share of our competitors. So we are really proud of it.
Awesome. There's 2 other questions here right now in regards to pretty important topics. One is in regards to duties and taxes, and the other in terms of like import certificates or import requirements. So let's start with duties and taxes. So Kevin was asking, we're selling in Brazil, but I imagine it, applying to the other regions as well. Does Mercado Libre have any solution to help international sellers with getting set up with any sort of requirements they need, and then paying any taxes, or how does that work? Perhaps it's different in LATAM than the normal experience we know.
It depends. First, it depends on the shipping logistic they are going to use. For example, for direct to consumer, the responsible of paying taxes is always the buyer. So merchants do not need to worry about calculating or taxes to ship their products, because it's the buyer, the one that is going to pay for the taxes. If they're working with fulfillment solution, we work with some companies that help merchants with all the process of the import of goods from, for example, the United States to Mexico, from the United States to Chile. So it depends on the logistic model that they choose.
And Lou, does it also depend on the country as well, or just really the logistics?
It also depends on the country, yeah. But for direct to consumer, always the ones that pays the taxes is the buyer.
Okay, cool. So Kevin, if you have any more specific questions on that, Lou's email is on the screen there, and I'm sure she's happy to help. The next question.
Just one comment there, building on what Lou just mentioned. What's good about our platform is as we are, a local player in Latin America, we are experts in the different countries where we included the tax calculator for the specific countries in our platform. And that's great news, because even though the buyer is the one responsible for paying the import duty, the seller must at least have a sense of what these taxes are in order to build a competitive pricing, right? So we have not built in our platform so that the merchant, again, even though he's not responsible for the import duties, he will have that information in order to the pricing for his catalog.
Cool, good to know, and that's probably a very helpful tool when setting prices and such. So Chad had a question about any required certifications for importing into Mexico, whether you're doing the Mercados Envios full, or I guess he was asking like a NAM certificate. I'm not entirely sure what a NAM certificate is. So Chad, if you want to spell that out, that would be helpful. But for Mariano or Lou, do you guys know of any certificates needed to do that into Mexico?
Yeah, so it actually depends on the product category. The NOM certificate is a formal authorization given by the let's put it this Mexican FDA or the Mexican customs body, allowing that specific SKU to be sold in Mexican soil or in the different countries that we operate, right? So depending on the category, there's categories that are more restricted than others. For instance, products or food-related products are most probably not going to be allowed to be sold but all the other typical categories, such as consumer electronics, home and garden, sports and fitness, they don't require these NOM certificates. Why? Because the process is as if the buyer is importing the product. It's not that he is importing the products in bulk. He's importing the products for his personal use. With that understanding, it's that the local governments don't require these catalogs to be locally certified as a general rule. Again, depending on the category, that may be the case, but normally it's not. I'm not sure if I answered the question, but I think I did.
Yeah, I think so. But Chad, if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to throw it in the Q&A. The next question comes from Russell regarding shipping to potentially the warehouse, I believe. So for Mercado Envios Full. So he said that he's based in California, and he was wondering where he would ship less than load to Mercado Libre Envios Full to supply Mexico. Could that shipment also contain goods that can go to the rest of Mercado Libre network? Or do you need to send to Chile one shipment, Brazil a different shipment, or Mexico? How does that work?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the answer is no. If you ship your products to our fulfillment in Mexico, our warehouse in Mexico is for sales in the country. If you want to sell in Chile, you have to send your products directly to our fulfillment in Chile, from the United States to Chile. Yeah. Okay.
So I guess his second question was if Mercado Libre provides less than a load transportation within the network, and the answer to that would be no. If you're listing on Chile, you have to ship to Chile to take advantage of Mercado Envios Full. Similarly with Brazil or Mexico, when that rolls out, right?
The answer is not today.
Not today. Okay.
Not today.
For
yes.
now, that's the answer.
Yeah.
We can share additional details, but we are working on a solution that would improve that situation. But as of now, that's the case.
Okay. Cool. So it looks like they were asking, or Russell was asking, do you have a recommended carrier into Mexico? So for, I guess, Mercados Envios Full.
Yeah, we do work with a lot of companies that help merchants to import goods to Mexico or Chile. I can share with you that information by email, okay?
Okay. And right now, Mercado Libre Colombia does not have the fulfillment warehouse, right?
Not yet. We are working on opening fulfillment solution in all the countries we have our global selling program enabled. But not today. Fulfillment solution, it's only available in Mexico and Chile. In Colombia and in Mexico, you have to use our direct-to-consumer shipping solution. I mean, directly from the United States to Mexico or to Colombia. To Brazil or to Colombia.
So we might have touched on this question a little bit before, but Paula is asking, based on the calculation, what's cheaper for the seller to do the direct shipping from the US via DHL, or to do the Mercados Envios Full in each country with the duties and taxes? I guess it depends on each business, right?
Unfortunately, it does. It depends on the product category. It depends on the volume that the merchant is ready to commit. So again, the full program, it's specifically designed for sellers committing an interesting amount of inventory because, again, it's a volume business with the benefits of next day delivery or same day delivery, etc., etc. So it may be a little more expensive at the beginning, but then the return on that investment is going to be much higher than the direct-to-consumer option. That's why we have the two different options, because each merchant and each business will fit one or the other, and it's up to them to choose any of the two.
Right, and that's what you said. It's really about volume versus margins, typically.
Mm-hmm.
So opening yourself up to an entire continent, is it possible for someone, say in Argentina, to buy from Mercado Libre Chile, or is it just Chile?
Not for now. We don't have the intra-LATAM program yet. Believe it or not, from a customs perspective, in Latin America, it's much more difficult to allow intra-LATAM orders than it is to allow China to LATAM orders or US to LATAM orders. Right. That's the reality of our region.
All right, cool. Well, that is all the questions we have at the moment. I will leave this slide up here with our emails for just a couple more minutes. But if anybody has any questions regarding Mercado Libre or GeekSeller in terms of how they support Mercado Libre expansion and the global selling program, absolutely feel free to reach out to anyone at the respective companies. You can also reach out to me, and I'm happy to make an introduction, because those guys are the experts, and I'd probably just confuse things if I got too involved. But I think that's about it, and we can end about 5 minutes early here. Oh, look, I'm sorry, there was a question in the chat. 1 second. So someone was just asking if you could list the top markets in LATAM that you work with. Potentially, could you rank the 4 that are involved in the global selling program in terms of biggest opportunity? I mean, we would really look at like consumer population, right? Or where do you see the most success?
Yeah, so the cross-border program is present in 4 countries in Latin America: Mexico, Brazil, Chile, and Colombia. That would be the order of preference in terms of cross-border operations. If we were not considering cross-border, then Brazil is by far the biggest market. But for the cross-border business, it would be Mexico, Brazil, Chile, and Colombia.
Okay, cool. So I think that is where we're going to wrap. Just to recap, there's obviously a large opportunity still in LATAM, which a lot of businesses in the US have barely scratched the surface. So I would want to explore this. And like I said, take some takeaways. If your takeaway is just to further research this global selling program or further research, the certain markets and figure out which one's right for you, do that. If you're more advanced, you're ready to go, you're ready to see what's next. Lou and Mariano and Brock and Daniel and the teams at Mercado Libre and GeekSeller are definitely able to help that and facilitate that. So for the 5 of us, I really appreciate you all joining. We will be sending out a recording either later today or tomorrow, along with the slides. So if you have any questions, you'll have all the contact details and the content. And that's about it. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you all.
Okay,
Thanks, everybody.